Welcome home to USA Global TV and Radio, a place where dreams take flight, with authentic storytelling, diverse perspectives and meaningful conversations, where global stories unite and bridges are built beyond all borders. Discover world-class education, entertainment, hope and inspiration. Together, we're building bridges worldwide. Subscribe to our channel, USA Global TV. Download our app, USA Global TV. Be our guest or join our team. Visit usaglobaltv.com. Thanks to our founder and executive producer, Dr. Jacalyn Kerbeck. Music score by Yeffy Tang from Cloud Road Music. Voiceover artist Mike Porter. Creative direction by Paul Garcia. USA Global TV and Radio. Your home for global connection. All rights reserved. This video and its contents are the exclusive property of USA Global TV and Radio. Unauthorized use, duplication or redistribution in any form is strictly prohibited.
Hello and welcome. Welcome. We're so excited about our new numbers that have actually even climbed higher than these latest numbers, 142,833 on our two YouTube channels combined. So we really appreciate you taking this journey with us. Welcome. This is USA Global TV and Radio. We want to say hello to all of our loyal fans out there across the world and hello to everyone at E360 TV. Thank you for taking this journey with us, and thank you for distributing our content. I'm Dr. Jacalyn Kerbeck, and our show today is a woman's prerogative. And we're going to be talking all about rest, how hard it is to get rest in a go-go world. And I know that I'm always on the go. I just came from a gym class where I was sweating like a pig, which is hence why I look the way I look now. But it's go, go, go. That's how we do things here. So let's get the show started. Joining me is my very dear friend who's been here since the very beginning, who's watched all kinds of transformations as I have with her as well. Together we grow stronger. Together we reach more people. We lift our hands across the world in sisterhood. Let us welcome Mariska Dupria. Hello, how are you?
Hello, I am wonderful. And yes, that is a big number of YouTube watchers and subscribers and everybody listening. So welcome and welcome back to everybody that's used to us and those that's new to us. It's always good to have everyone around.
Yes, it is. And Mariska, I know that you are not a social media psycho like I am, although I hate to use the word psycho, but this show has been at the top of the top 10 for a while. So tell us about your background.
Oh, well, my background is within the leadership space, and I am also very happy to be part of this show. So if you haven't watched us before, you are at a woman's prerogative. And if you have, maybe you have been part of the evolution of it. We have a couple of different places and faces within this space. And I also have my shirt. I'm so proud of it. It says, I am a top 10 TV host, show host. So yes, because this show has been on the top 10 list a couple of times. So I thought, well, I can just as well get my shirt now. Why not? And then other than that, the work that I do and the places where I normally find myself is within the leadership space. As I mentioned before, I do coaching, I do team coaching, I do facilitation and leadership development work in general. And with that, Dr. Jacalyn, I'm also seeing that my background is doing weird things. Back to you.
Fantastic. And while you're dealing with that, I'm dealing with what sounds like a plane landing. Thank you, plane, for so quiet. As you see, folks, this is live TV, and this is the way that it goes. You never know what is going to happen. But as they say, the show must go on. So let's get started. When we think about why rest takes hard work. And I think this is really a multi-dimensional, multifaceted topic. Rest can be, I'm just going to close my eyes and see if I can fall asleep. And that in itself can be problematic for many people. But when you came up with this title, what were you thinking, Mariska?
Yeah, I was wondering about that myself. What am I thinking? Bringing this topic and this title to the show where I know Dr. Jacalyn has tendency to, well, be very active. And I actually came across an article not so long ago about rest. And I also have had quite a number of different clients where we spoke about the busyness at work, the stress that they've been going through, and how to take care of themselves in different ways. And I had a very interesting conversation with one of my colleagues around rest specifically. And I asked my colleague what they thought about rest. If we just say the word rest, what's the first thing that you think about? And my colleague said, well, for them, rest is typically, as you mentioned, Dr. Jacalyn, going to sleep or resting my eyes, trying to fall asleep, some way, shape, or form. My body is in a restful, inactive state, and I am most probably trying to get some brain rest too. And the article that I read had a number of different ways of rest that it mentioned. So having mental rest, having social rest, having spiritual rest was in there, emotional rest. Oh man, I cannot remember all of them. But the main thing that really caught my eye was the fact that even though there's all these different ways of resting, it's not necessarily an inactive state or a passive state that we are in when we rest. And even when you think about sleeping, when we sleep, yes, our eyes might be closed, but the body is still doing a whole bunch of different things, because now it can repair itself properly. It can do all those other functions that typically during the day, when we are running around all over the place, it doesn't get the time or energy to do because we are busy. So rest is actually a very active thing that we do. And so I thought, well, rest can then also take a lot of hard work. It isn't necessarily only a passive state. So I thought, this I am sure Dr. Jacalyn can get behind, and we can have a vigorous discussion around rest.
So as we always do, we always have fun discussions, that's for sure. So, yeah, I think the one thing that comes up for me is that when I was younger, I was always told you need 8 hours of sleep, 8 hours of rest. And of course, the body is doing things while it's resting. And how do we know this? And I'm not saying this happens to me, I'm just going to say in general. Sometimes people might get sleep in their eyes, or they might have something stuck to the corner of their mouth, or they may wake up with lines from their sheets or something. So obviously there are things that are going on. Let's talk about their breath as well. There are things that are going on while we're sleeping, that the body is actually working. And I think it's important to note that the body's a machine. And just like any machine, if you were to take your car and just run it and run it and run, if you weren't even driving it, just put it up on something and just had it floored, the speed floored for the whole time, at some point things would start falling apart and the car might need a rest. So I think it depends on the individual, how much rest you need. I mean, there are people, prominent people that I know of, that they say they get 4 hours of sleep a night. And this has been going on for years. So do you think it catches up to you if you don't get enough sleep?
I think sleep specifically, as you mentioned, it is a very individual thing. I know for a fact I will not be able to function on 4 hours. I will not be coherent at all, and I will most probably be extremely cranky. So the whole idea for me. For other people, maybe that works for them. I don't know. Whether it is sustainable is always the thing that I wonder about, because it's a little bit like you mentioned, the body being a machine, right? Yeah, it might be able to do that for a decade, maybe two. Would it be able to do that forever? Potentially not, right? So at some point, maybe they will need to have a whole bunch of rest all at the same time because they didn't have it when they were supposed to have it in between. I don't know. Or they might just run into the place where, well, they stop living. Who knows?
True.
So there's all of those elements to it, and understanding what it is that we need for ourselves to show up as our best self every day, right? That to me is the main intention of the game. Am I able to show up as my best self in this moment, every single moment? And if I didn't, I know for me, if I didn't sleep enough, my husband has told me numerous times, please just get some rest, because I do get cranky. That's just what happens. Other people get cranky when they don't eat enough. I get cranky when I don't sleep enough.
Well, I think it's important that we know our bodies too. We know what it is that we need, because our body is communicating with us. It's speaking to us. And if we choose not to listen, then it might choose not to perform. So I think there was a time in my life, I'm trying to remember what year it was, but I was working in corporate. I was working on my doctorate. I had a part-time job doing cosmetics, makeovers, and I also was running 60 auctions a week on eBay, and I was shipping everything out myself. And I literally, at the time, I was getting 4 hours of sleep, and I was kind of thriving on it because it was so cool. Like, wow, look at everything I'm getting done. But you don't know later in life if that catches up with you, because I did that for probably a good year. I would say at least. Yeah, a good year. And so I don't know how that impacted me as I got older, but I also think we need to follow our passion. So I think if somebody is burning the midnight candle and they're using maybe some substances to keep them awake or keep them going, because people will do that, right? They'll take caffeine, or they'll take whatever it is so they can keep going. That to me is an artificial way of getting the body to perform. And at some point the body might just not have any of it and say, no, this isn't working.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that, because it is not sustaining itself within its own ecosystem. And as soon as you start introducing other things, and I'm not saying normal healthy food, right? Because our body needs normal healthy food. But if we start to supplement it with things that gives us a better edge in enhancing certain things, so that we have short bursts of energy, but we almost want to keep it going for a long time, that is typically where you start getting people having burnout conditions. We run the system to such an extent that it cannot recover itself properly anymore. So either we go beyond the point where it can recover properly, which means we sit with serious illnesses, other problems that we might have induced for the long term of the rest of our lives, or it might be that it needs some time to actually recover. Now, having an engineering background, this reminds me of materials and the properties of yield. So typically, any material, if you take a piece of wire, you can stretch the piece of wire. If you pull it only a little bit, it will stretch and will go back to its original space. But if we stretch it too much, it would get to a place where it goes into yield, which means it has broken its elasticity and it cannot go back to the way it was. And that's basically the same principle on which our bodies will work. The thing is, we don't know where the yield point is. So I personally don't want to push myself to get to the yield point, because that means that I won't be able to bounce back anymore. So understanding and listening to our bodies and what we need, it gives us good indications of what's going on. And like Dr. Jacalyn says, in normal conversations, we need to listen. Well, we also need to listen to what the body is telling us so that we can actually do the thing that we need to do. The one element that I did find really interesting when I was busy with the readings on all the rest things that they have and the research that they've been doing, Dr. Jacalyn, and I think you would appreciate this, is that we can also rest when we are active. So if you think about all the exercises that you love doing, that's a form of rest, because I can bet, and I don't know, Dr. Jacalyn, you will need to tell me, but while you are exercising, is it that you are also busy compiling a show in your head at the same time, or are you focusing on the exercise?
I'm definitely focusing on the exercise.
Yeah, so that's rest, right? It's active. It's your body is doing stuff, but it's active rest. So that I found a very interesting way of thinking about rest. It isn't only about sleep.
It's true. And by the way, many times we might need to take a rest from a conversation, from an interaction. We might have to take a 6-second pause. We might have to say, you know what, right now I've got to set a boundary because I'm saturated with information and I've got to process it. I need to clear my head.
Yeah. So that would be mental rest. So we need all sorts of different types of rests. The other one that they mentioned, and this going back again to some of the experiences that my clients have had, is especially when we feel very overwhelmed. One of the things that happens in that space is that there's a lot of emotional things that might be going on in that person's life at one point in time, and they need emotional rest. And the way that it shows up is they feel too overwhelmed. There's too many things. They cannot figure out what to do first. And a lot of the time it is because of the emotional overwhelm, the too muchness of it. So we need that rest and understanding how we get that. Dr. Jacalyn, to your point on the conversation rest, a thing that I found interesting is they had one that said social rest. And under social rest, they said spending time with people that energize us. So I don't know about you. I typically try my very best to most of the time spend time with people that energize me. And it's not always possible, especially when we're in a workplace where we have, well, whoever we have in that workspace, we might have people there that doesn't necessarily energize us as much. They're not close friends. They're not people that we would typically go and look for to spend time with. And we might need rest from them. And one way of doing that is then interacting with our social circles and our social groups, where we do find that we can just fully be ourselves and we belong and we can rest.
And when we do rest, we typically will come back rejuvenated. And something that I like to do, which I consider rest, is sometimes I like to walk. And let's say I'm walking on a treadmill and I'm not watching anything. You know, they have the screens up and I'm literally just walking and thinking. And of course, when it's an opportune time, I like to walk outside. And I've come up with some great ideas. I came up with Dr. Jacalyn LLC on a walk. And I've come up with a lot of other business related things on a walk. And I've come up with the ability to give grace and forgive when I've been on a walk. So I think taking a rest from the day to day and clearing your head, I think it's that intentional, give myself a break, give myself grace so that I can be even more effective in what I'm doing.
Yeah. They also found that the brain actually needs it. We have what they called a default mode network. So during the default mode network, our brain is literally wandering. So it's not wondering what to do next. It is wandering around what all the things, the experiences that we had, different things that might have come up in life, emotions that came up for us, things that we read. And it's doing a little bit of a meandering through all of that without any specific intention or thing that it needs to do. So it's not very focused. And it needs to do that. And to your point, Dr. Jacalyn, that's typically when we come up with our most brilliant ideas. It is when the brain has that time to meander, it can find solutions to problems that we have sort of put into the back and are not at the moment actively thinking about. And the brain needs that space of rest. And if we don't give it to the brain, it will never have it, right? Because we very much driving things. And when we drive things, we have a tendency to use the focus part of the brain a lot more. We are focused on a task, or we are focused on getting the to-do list finished, or we are focused on getting this thing right, or whatever the thing is, we are focusing on the thing instead of giving ourselves and the brain the opportunity to rest and meander, just staring into space. It's a great place for the brain to meander. And it's a great place for us to also do a bit of sensory rest. Because I don't know about you, Dr. Jacalyn, that's one of the reasons why social media for me is a place where my senses feel overwhelmed. There's just too much. It feels like there's too much things that sort of pokes at me all the time. So I try to not engage with it as much because I need rest from it. So there's times when I will engage with it more. And then there's other times, especially over weekends, I am not even going close to it because I need rest from it. And my brain loves me for it. So that's another place that we can potentially rest.
Well, that's a good point because you know your body, you know yourself. And I'm the exact opposite of you. I live in social media because we're on social media. So I'm constantly posting about our team and about what we're doing and information. And I've become quite good at it, I have to say, because I have spent so much time in it. And to me, I don't take it in. I'm not typically going and reading people's posts and then making any judgment about it. I might like it, make a comment, but then I let it go. And I've discovered a lot of businesses through social media, businesses that I've actually become a client of as a result. So I think there's some good things about it. I think it's about managing it like anything else. You know, you have to have a time allowance and then you have to have boundaries. So for me, it doesn't come in. I don't let it in. I don't have to work on it. It's just kind of natural for me. But, you know, then there's other things that I do have to. So I think it's all relative. But for those of you who are just joining us today, it's a woman's prerogative, and we're talking about why rest takes hard work. And we're looking at rest in a number of different ways. So, Mariska, I'd love to have you share with our audience, when you do get the amount of rest that you need, what does an energized, exciting, productive day look like for you?
An energized, exciting, productive day for me. Well, I typically start really early in my day. So we get up at about 4:30, 40-ish. So that would be the start of my day. And then, of course, getting ready for the day, just the normal showering and dressing and toothbrushing sort of activities that you get, as well as a good, nice early morning walk. So that is something that we have actually baked into the day as a good way of starting the day with ease. So that to me is really, really important. And then jumping into whatever focus work that I need to do. I also try to, during my day, as I progress with my day, build in small little breaks. So I have focus time, and then I have a small little break where I can let my brain meander, do all sorts of things that it wants to do. And I might just be looking at the birds outside, or playing with the cats, or looking at the clouds, literally. There's not much that's physically being done necessarily, but I leave my brain so it can meander for a bit. And that would be 5 to 10 minutes, so it doesn't take a lot of time. And then I'll get back to my focused work again. So for me, that would be a very, very productive day. And of course, if I can include into my day any form of creativity, so whether it is being creative with a client, whether it is developing creative content, or whether it is just maybe drawing a picture or painting something. If I can have some creativity within my day, that is an excellent day. And typically I try to have more of those more often than not. And with that being said, Dr. Jacalyn, how about you?
My day is pretty much the same. I wake up, I'm very excited to get started, and sometimes I'll go right to the desk, and I won't eat or get ready or anything else. And before I know it, 3 hours have gone by. I'm like, whoa, I got to get ready. And then I'll spend the entire day working. And then from there, I typically will be off and doing fitness for about 3 hours. And then I come back and I'm working again. So that's pretty much my schedule. And I've been able to create so many really cool things. And I think that's what the excitement is, that, you know, for example, I've been taking this training, peace training, and they've taught us various things. And so I just listen and pay attention. And I think, what did I learn that I could actually help somebody else with? And then I go and put together an entire presentation. I market it, and then I start teaching it. So I've done that the last 2 weeks. I take the class on a Saturday. I put the curriculum together on a Sunday. I put it up for sale. And then Monday I teach it. So that's been pretty amazing. And I also have a brand new book that is coming out. And I'm going to see if I can, let's see if I can put us like this. So there's a story behind this, but I just want to share it. So this is a book that is in the listening series. This one you already know about. This is the second version of Mastering the Power of Elevated Listening. So it's a different cover, and it also includes some minor changes, and then also a section on judgment detox. And what I found, Mariska, is there's so much judgment in the world, and it comes in so many forms and shapes, and people don't even realize it. In the course of a conversation, the little comments that people might make, and they could be passive aggressive, but they're filled with judgment. So I thought to myself, I want to write a book that really encompasses so many different areas. So this is the first time I'm showing this book cover, and I'm very interested to get your thoughts on it. Here it is, my new book that is coming out. It is Holy but Harmful: The Silent Sin of Judgment, How Hidden Judgments Destroy Relationships and Damage Lives. There's the book cover, and it's coming, it's forthcoming, and it includes Maslow's hierarchy of needs. I know that you know what that is. It includes scientific research. It includes scripture. It includes quotations from very well-known people who are motivational speakers. And it also contains the power of elevated listening with an extreme focus on judgment. We talk about forgiving. We talk about people who've committed violence against us. And so all of these things together, how do we as humans take a step closer to being in our best, I would say, emotional intelligence, and being able to treat people with kindness and compassion? So on the book cover, for anybody listening on audio, what we have is we have a stained glass window that has cracks all over it. And we also examine religion in here. And this is not a book to pick on anyone. There's no judgment about anyone, but people may choose not to read the book because they find the title and the cover offensive. But if you don't read the book, you're not going to get to the moral of the story. So what are your thoughts seeing this for the first time?
I love the cover. It is thought-provoking. It is very colorful. So that to me already draws me in. It's like, what is this book about? And what do you mean by the silent sin of judgment? What is in this? So I cannot wait to get it and start paging through it so I can see what you have included in there. And of course, the fact that you have also included some science and some other quotes and people's experiences with them there. Yes, I'm very excited.
Well, thank you. The whole book is APA research, so it's not about my opinion, but it all comes back to the silence is in the judgment, because many times we put a face on, we put a mask on, and we act one way towards people, and then we get into our homes and we say something else about them. And sometimes it's generational. It's passed down from generation to generation. Oh, we don't talk to them. Oh, we don't do that. But in the meantime, we pretend that we do, or we act like we're interested in what someone's saying, and we're looking at them right in the eyes, but the entire time we're thinking something untoward, unpleasant. And so this book explores all of those things, all of those aspects. And I really believe that this is what my entire journey was meant to be about. It's quite interesting.
The thing that's coming up for me is, as you were describing the book, bringing in the work that you have done through the listening element and the piece. So this book sounds like it's sort of a combination of both of them mixed together. So I am really excited to read that, Dr. Jacalyn.
Well, it's not available yet, but thank you. We'll be available in fine bookstores. And it basically starts with the hypothesis, and then we'll go back to our topic, the hypothesis that someone basically challenged me on something and said that if you don't go to church, God doesn't know you or love you. And that's where it started. And I thought, let me find out if that's in the Bible. Let me speak with clergy. Let me speak with peacemakers. Let me speak with laypersons. Let me speak with religious people, and let me put together something. And I was actually going to do some type of research-based thesis. And then I thought, I'd rather just put it in a book because it's a natural extension of this book. So this book talks about judgment, and then this book takes it a step further and looks at judgment in many, many different areas. And so it is the silent sin, because judgment is silent. It's within until we actually make an offhanded comment, or we call someone a name, or we label them, or we ask questions like, how'd you end up living in that neighborhood? Different things that come up that are all based on judgment.
Yeah. And it's literally meanings that we are making internally. It doesn't mean that that is a fact. It is our own internal meaning that we made. And then the, judgment that we put onto the meaning that we make. We are fascinating creatures, Dr. Jacalyn.
Yes, we are. But one thing I can say about us here on our network is that all of us continue to grow. We're always doing personal and professional improvement, development courses. And I love that. People will say to me, why are you still writing books? Or why are you still working? Or why? Because I can, because I'm curious, because that's what turns me on. That's what intrigues me. And learning something new, like today, I took a class I've never taken before, where you did the treadmill and you had to run and kill yourself for 2 minutes, and then you had to do something else and back and forth, and you did the floor work. And I thought, I want to try this out. How's it going to work? How's it going to be for me and my 62-year-old body? And I thought, it went pretty darn well, I have to say, because I'm open to it. There's definitely things I'm not open to. I'm not open to drugs. I'm not open to gambling. There are things I'm not open to. But for the most part, I am open to learning about how people do things, why they do things. And I just find it fascinating. I'd rather talk about that than, it's supposed to rain tomorrow, or, did you see XYZ on the TV show? And of course, I'd like people to talk about what we're teaching, because this is global education. This is hope and inspiration. We're not bringing negativity into things. This is all about positivity.
And I think it's also a added level of perspective. There you go. That's the right word. My English is failing me today. So sorry. So what we bring is, we typically in media, we only find one point of view. They want to sell the drama. They want to sell the not so good things that happen in the world. And they do that because, well, everybody's drawn to it, right? There's an accident next to the highway. First thing that happens is you have a big pileup of vehicles. And that's not because of the physical accident. It's because of spectator value. It is part of our human nature. We want to see what is the thing that happened, so potentially we can avoid it. Well, that's, I think, why it started, not necessarily why it is there today. And in this platform, we bring something else, something different, something that can help all of us grow and be better and continue to grow. And that is one of the reasons why I am so happy that I am part of all of this, because we continue to grow together. And I know that I am not a fully made human being. Well, I'm fully made in the sense of I have all the bits that I need to have for being a human being, but I'm not full in the sense of I know everything and I have everything worked out. I'm learning like the rest of you. And we are all continuously learning, so we can just as well enjoy it while we're doing it.
Absolutely. And I have to share one of the most beautiful things that I get to really enjoy is when I produce the shows. Like Thursday, we're back to back for the most part, except when I'm working out. And of course, we have other people who can produce the shows. I don't have to produce any of the shows if I don't want to, but I really enjoy it. And the point is that I learned so much. So especially on a Thursday with back-to-back shows starting at 9 a.m, I love it. I mean, I'm fascinated. Obviously, I'm working and producing the show, but I'm listening to the content and I'm meeting new people, backstage. But I think, wow, this is the greatest job in the entire world, because we have people from all over who are sharing their experience and their knowledge, and any one of us could be anywhere. So it's amazing that we've all come together, and there's so many people, and people keep booking in and people keep joining our team. It's just a beautiful thing. So once again, thank you for taking this time with me, because you could choose to take this time for rest. You could say, you know what, I'm not going to do the show and I'm going to just take some respite. But we always have a great time. And I think we've got good chemistry, and hopefully the audience is enjoying it, because we are typically in the top 10 of the TV shows. So, Mariska, we are coming to the end of the show for today. Who can you help? How do you do it?
So the people that I typically work with are within the leadership space. So either you have stepped into leadership, you are new to leadership, or you are stepping up in your leadership journey and learning how to lead better and from a more human place. So that's the who, and the how is really anything around your leadership development. So this might be training related elements of it, or it might also include incorporation of some of the different techniques or theories out there that you want to try and incorporate for yourself, because it's one thing to learn something from a book. It is quite a different thing to live it in life. And having the concept or the abstract and bringing it into how does this actually look into in my life, in my work, where I am working with people, when I'm having to have these difficult conversations and I don't quite know how to approach it, and I I have tried a couple of times and the words doesn't really work and I don't really work well within it and I feel nervous. So those are types of things that I work with within the leadership space to help people incorporate it into their space so that they can show up as their whole self and being authentic the way that they want to show up as a leader, as they wish they would have leaders themselves. So that's what I do and who I do it with. And of course, if you want to get hold of me, you can do that via my email address, which is Mariska, MARISKA, at journey2discover.com. Or alternatively, you can also find me on LinkedIn. As Dr. Jacalyn said, I'm not necessarily always as active on our social media spaces, but I do check my LinkedIn and I absolutely do reply back on any messages I get on that platform. So if you want to get me on social media, LinkedIn would be the place to go. Alternatively, you can also find me on my website, which is journey2discover.com. And as I mentioned on my email, on the website, there's also a little form that you can fill in. So you're more than welcome to do that. And then I will get in touch with you. And that's all from me, Dr. Jacalyn.
Thank you very much. Very comprehensive. Much appreciated. Well, my dear friend, I look forward to seeing you next week. And also, Mariska is one of our expert presenters on Talking Heads. You can go over to our YouTube channel and you can actually find her content under the playlist with her name on it, as well as the playlist with Expert Presenters 2025 Talking Heads. So there's two places there. So thank you, my friend. Enjoy the rest of your day there in Australia. Thanks for repping the brand with your beautiful logo shirt. And I look forward to seeing you again soon.
I look forward to our next conversation too.
Bye for now.
Bye.
Well, it's been another great show. Thank you so much. We've got another show after this coming up. So if you are interested in contacting me, you can look in the show notes and all the information is there. I currently have a new children's book that's out. It's called Lady Ella and Lord Jack's Kindness Adventures. All you parents out there, grandparents, caregivers, why not take the opportunity to purchase a book that teaches children kindness? That's what we need in this world. Learn how to be kind, live with compassion, live with empathy. And also the second version of my Mastering the Power of Elevated Listening is also available. This has some minor changes as well as a new cover and also a section on judgment detox. And my new book, hot off the press, just announced today, will be available at major bookstores and on Amazon sometime in the future. I'll let you know about it. So I'm planning on doing a big launch for it. And finally, we are thrilled that we have over 142,833 subscribers on our two YouTube channels combined. This number is actually 2 days old, so I haven't looked at it since then. But we really do appreciate you, and we thank you for taking this journey. As we did last time, we will end today asking you to be empowered to create a just and peaceful world. I'm a peace ambassador for World Citizen Peace. 5 peace actions that you can take yourself. Seek peace within yourself and others. Be peaceful. Give people grace. Hold the judgment at bay. Reach out in service. Do something to help someone else without asking for credit, without asking to be acknowledged. Protect the environment. It's the only one we have, and people will be coming long after we're gone. Let's give them a beautiful planet. Respect diversity. When someone doesn't look like you, they don't sound like you, what can you learn from them? And finally, be a responsible citizen of the world. Isn't that the job of each and every one of us? It's a gift to be here. Thank you so much. Thank you for your time. We're going to go over to our sponsors, and then we'll be back with our next program. Bye for now.
What if one simple skill could change the way you connect with the world? What if listening could open doors to deeper relationships, stronger businesses, and a better you? Dr. Jacalyn Kerbeck, the Listening Mentor, brings you USA Global TV and Radio, a space where voices are heard, ideas are shared, and global communities thrive. Through the elevated listeners' courses and books, you'll master the power of listening, set boundaries with confidence, and transform conversations into opportunities. Join us. Listen, learn, elevate. Whether you're a leader, a coach, a business owner, or someone seeking stronger connections, your journey starts today. Subscribe, learn, and transform today.
USA Global TV and Radio proudly presents Tracy Cram-Perkins, a dementia caregiving survivor teaching how to balance care with peace of mind. #1 resource for dementia caregivers. It's the book Dementia Home Care: How to Prepare Before, During, and After. Over 17,000 copies sold of this must-have guide. And now a testimonial from Tracy Smith.
If I was to describe this book to someone who is going through a similar situation, I would underscore how important it is to have some sort of a tool or a guidebook to help you through certain stages. And there's so many, it's such an unknown topic to the average person. And to have this as a reference is essential. It's going to help you get through it personally, as well as help your loved one manage.
To learn more, go to tracycramperkins.com. Tracy Cram-Perkins is an award-winning author. She's also the host of Dementia Home Care television show. Watch it here on USA Global TV and Radio.
Thank you, viewers and listeners of USA Global TV and Radio, for joining us today. We're honoured to have your time and attention as part of our global community. At USA Global TV and Radio, we believe in the power of authentic conversations, meaningful connections, and creating a world of possibilities together. Want to be part of something bigger? Join our team of elevated listeners at usaglobaltv.com, a space where your voice matters and your ability to listen transforms relationships. Stay connected with us across all our platforms for thought-provoking discussions, expert insights, and empowering stories. Subscribe to our channels at youtube.com/c/USA-Global-TV. Follow us on social media and explore the endless opportunities we're creating for growth, learning, and inspiration. Together, we're not just broadcasting, we're building bridges and changing lives one conversation at a time. For inquiries, contact us at info@usaglobaltv.com. Music by Johnny Dies. Produced by Executive Producer and Director Dr. Jacalyn Kerbeck. Voiceover by Mike Porter. Creative Direction by Paul Garcia. All rights reserved. Copyright 2025. Visit usaglobaltv.com to view our full terms and conditions.